So welcome to the craziest modification you can ever do on a Stratocaster, alright? This is apparently a normal Stratocaster. As you can see, there is nothing fancy on it apart of the pick guard, which is an old front design. When I was about to change the Stratocaster pickups, I decided to put a modification that could give me as many pickup combinations as possible. And I thought of the American Deluxe Stratocaster design, which has an X1 thing that gives you 10 sounds, the 5 regular sounds of the Stratocaster plus 5 more. But I realized that combinations don't have the neck and bridge combinations. So I wanted a modification that could give me all the Stratocaster sounds and all the possible parallel combinations and all the possible series combinations, including those with the neck and the bridge. After that, I came to the top, and I thought about the possibility of using out-of-phase commutations, switches like this. And I think I have all the possible combinations you can ever think of. So let me explain you how this works. In the description of the video there is a link to a PDF file. You can download it for free, of course, and there everything is explained. The circuit is, the schematic of the circuit is there. Everything what you may think of is there. It's clearly explained, I hope, and you can make your own modifications over that basis. But before going on, let me tell you that in order to be able to do this without adding in here a lot of switches and things like that, I've had to acquire some very special components. The most special one is the 5-way selector, which consists of 2 mega switches stacked together. I had to buy that to Ginter Ibe from Ibe Guitars in Germany. It was very easy. I paid him by PayPal and he sent me that. And that's the most complicated thing. The other components are regular components, but I have to make some tweaks on them. I've exchanged the conductive tracks. So you're warned, this is not an easy modification to do. You need some very special components, but if you do, you will have all the combinations you can think of. How this works? Well, if you forget about this knob, the Stratocaster works like a regular Stratocaster. This is master volume and this is master tone, all right? So simply forget about this, forget about this one, okay? And you have here your 5-way selector switch. The pickups I've acquired are Kinmans. They are noiseless, or as Chris Kinman likes to say, they are hum-free. The set I've bought is the so-called David Gilmour set, so you can think this is a very classical sound, right? All the time I'm playing this with Vox AC30 emulation, alright? I'm not going to touch the settings at all. I'm not using any dynamics, I'm not using nothing else but the guitar and the amplifier. I'm not going to touch the gain or the volume, anything, alright? So that you can compare the different sounds the guitar creates, alright? So this is a regular Stratocaster, bridge position. Position 2, which is bridge and neck, bridge and middle in parallel. 3. 4, which is neck and middle. And neck. Alright, this is a regular Stratocaster. The bridge and neck combinations, I've decided to add it by turning this magical button here, alright? So the good of this is that I can add that progressively, right? Listen to it. This is the bridge pickup alone. And this is the bridge pickup with the neck pickup in parallel. So, bridge alone, bridge and neck. This is a rather Telecaster sound, a little bit Telecaster sound. If you compare this, the bridge only, bridge and neck. Same thing applies for position 2. The neck pickup is added progressively with this thing, working like the fader of a mixing console. Alright, so this is off, this is position 2, the classical position 2. Right, and this is the three of them together in parallel. You can clearly hear the difference, I hope. So I could stop there, but it was too tempting not to use the other positions to add things. So in the middle position I've decided to add the bridge pickup. So in the middle position with this off, this is the typical Stratocaster position 3 sound. But I can add progressively the bridge pickup and get the typical Knopfler sound. Okay. For position 4, the only thing I can do with this is to add the bridge position. So if I start with this off, this is a typical Stratocaster position 4. And here I go to the 3 pickups again. Right? And for position 5, I start with the neck pickup alone. And if I add this fader, I add the middle pickup. So I finish with the same sound as the typical position 4. Okay, so it's up to you if you want to use the other positions, because you're not adding more sounds for the 3 last positions. Only for with this one and this one you have the so-called Gilmour modification or the 7 sounds Strat modification. Alright, it's up to you if you want the other things. The good of that is that you can progressively add it. So you can have some sounds in the middle of 1 pickup alone and the 2 pickups in parallel. The other good of this is that I've added the possibility of reversing the phase of pickups. So in every position I have, if that pickup is engaged, I can reverse the polarity of the neck pickup and of the middle pickup. In this case, this is the neck pickup polarity and this is the middle pickup polarity. If I play with a pickup with a neck pickup alone, it's the same to have it out of phase or not. For example, that's the neck pickup. I can reverse its phase and the sound is the same. Alright? But if I mix 2 pickups and one of them has its polarity reversed, the sound is very hollow. For example, this is the neck and the bridge pickup. This is that hollow sound. I can suddenly go to a brighter sound, to a more solid sound. That's the effect of having one pickup out of phase. Alright, probably I will make a video explaining the out of phase thing, because there are a lot of misconceptions of that. Alright, you won't. Stay tuned. That's for the parallel combinations. What about the series combinations? Well, I use this marvelous thing. That's the S1 by Fender. When I push that, I go to the series combinations of pickups, and here things are much like humbuckers. 2 single coils in series are not a humbucker. The electronic principles are the same, but the sound is not the same just for geometry, because these 2 pickups together in series are not in the same position as one humbucker. Alright, so you get a kind of sound of a humbucker. Alright? Don't expect to have a Les Paul by making this modification. You will have a Stratocaster with series pickups. That's all, alright? But the sound is kind of a humbucker. So what sounds do you have if you play with this? For the first position, I've decided to respect the bridge pickup alone, because for the series combinations, I've decided to have a different tone and volume circuit. Usually with humbuckers you use different potentiometers, and that's what I've done here. These potentiometers are double. They have 2 gangs, They are 250Ks when this is off, and those are the parallel combinations that we've seen before. And when I press this, these two guys become 500 kilo ohms potentiometers with a different tone capacitor, by the way. That's all explained in the document. The fact is that the value of the potentiometers is a little subtle part of this sound, and it's more usual to have 500 kilo ohms potentiometers when you have series combinations, when you have humbuckers, all right? So I've decided to let this pickup alone for position 1 because that's more respectful with the original design of the Stratocaster. In the original design of the Stratocaster, the bridge pickup was not affected by the tone control, and that made that the subtle effect of the tone control is off. And in my case, it's affected by two potentiometers of 500K, and the load of two potentiometers of 500K is the same as the load of one potentiometer of 250K. So the sound this pickup creates when this is engaged is the same as it would do if it had only one potentiometer of 250. In fact, this has two potentiometers of 500, okay? But from the electronic point of view, it sees the same load, all right? So the difference is very subtle. I can't hardly hear it, all right? But let me demo this. This is with the master and tone controls 250. The capacitor is 22 nanofarads. And if I press, can you hear the difference? It's subtle, it's very subtle, and furthermore I'm not consistent playing, so sorry. But there is a difference. It's not clearly audible, but there is a difference. So it's a good thing to have the possibility of comparing that. It depends greatly on how your amplifier is set up, what kind of pickup you have, everything, all right? But that's a good idea, I think, to have the possibility of going to that original sound, all right? Nonetheless, it's still affected by the tone control. And now the tone control is 47 nanofarads, which is very typical for humbuckers as well. So in position 2, with these things off, I had the typical position 2 of a Strat with the middle and the bridge pickups. If I press, I go to the same pickups in series. Okay, that's very more humbucker, less bright, but more powerful probably. So in the middle position, this is crazy. This is 3 of them in series, all right? It's probably too much. For me, that's too much. If you're into that sound, you should think about going with active pickups or something like that. For position 4, I have, when this was off, I had these two in parallel. And now if I press, I have them in series. Clearly, same effect as before. And for position 5, I have the neck and the bridge in series, which is a very, very characteristic tone. I like it very much. It's something like a Telecaster in series. It's weird at first, but I like it very much. At any position you can reverse the polarity of one pickup. So for example, in this position, when I have the neck and the bridge together, I can reverse the polarity of the neck. It's quite hollow, and probably this ring a bell to you if you're a fan of Brian May. Okay, Brian May had his pickup, his guitar, his rather special with 3 pickups in series and the possibility of reversing the phase of any of them. So obviously these pickups are far of being similar by any means to the original pickups of Brian May, but this is the point to start. If you have a Stratocaster and you want to play with Brian, you can't afford the special, you can start with these kind of modifications, having the possibility of reversing the polarity and putting them in series. After that, you will have to tweak your sound, probably with a tube screamer or something like that, in order to have the original distortion of the Barnes pickup that Brian May uses. But for sure, this is the way to start, all right? The most typical Brian May tone is the one coming from the middle and the bridge pickups in series. Typical. So I use this tone, these 2 pickups together, when I want to play something similar to a bridge humbucker, and I play with position 4 when I want to play something similar to a neck humbucker, all right? I've not been able to put this thing to work in series, so it still works in parallel. So it does the same thing as it did when this was not engaged. So in position 1, this adds the neck pickup in parallel, so you have the same thing as you had before. The only difference is the tone and the volume master circuits. In position 2, if I let this at the 0 position, I have the humbucker of the bridge. And if I add this, I add the neck in parallel with the other 2, all right? So this sounds similar to those guitars that have a bridge humbucker and a single middle, and you put the 2 of them together, but the humbucker still is a humbucker. Not all of the guitars do the split coil of the humbucker when it goes to position 2. This sounds something similar to that. It may be a good way of going from one sound to the other. For position 4, it's the same. I had these 2 pickups in a humbucker position, in a humbucker arrangement. So if I add the other one, the bridge pickup comes in parallel with the other set. So it's clearly audible difference, isn't there? And for the neck and the bridge pickups, this was the Stratocaster sound in series. I can add the middle pickup in parallel. And finally, for position 3, in which the 3 of them were in series, I can add anything with this. What I do with this is to go from the 3 of them in series to only the bridge position. So there is a way here of a very different sound from one way to the other. So start with the 3 pickups in series, and then I go to the bridge pickup. So I can have a lot of sounds in the middle, which are very interesting. And this becomes even more interesting if I reverse the sound. If I reverse the polarity of any of the pickups. For example, I can start here with the 3 pickups in series, but I can reverse the sound. I can reverse the polarity of the middle pickup, right? So this sound I like it very much. Now I can add progressively the bridge pickup alone. I like it even more if I reverse the polarity of these 2. This is rather weird sound. But in the middle there is a place where you can feel comfortable, right? So this is it. I told you this was crazy. It is crazy. Allow me for a piece of advice. According to Jack White, I agree with him. Versatility has never done anything for creativity, so be careful with this. That's one thing. The other thing, I've had to make a lot of modifications here inside. It's not easy to be done. If this is your first modification, you should probably go to a luthier. You have to acquire very special components, and you have to tweak these three components. I have made a description of that in the PDF file. I've made a couple of videos explaining how to exchange the conductive tracks of these potentiometers. The only way to watch these videos is by having the link, and here I will put here a link to them so that they don't appear in the video list of my channel. Thank you very much.